Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.
Good morning, area.
It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. I'm your host, Joe Spadoni. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Just waking up. If you're just getting your day started, your night's ending, getting off work, getting ready for work, school, going on a trip, whatever you're doing. Appreciate you joining me here on this beautiful Thursday here in the Bay. Best day of the week, I always say, Thursday. We got the anticipation of the weekend approaching. We got football tonight, so it's already good. NFL football, I should say. Although college season's been on fire. Lions, Packers. Two fun teams. Two fun young teams. Got Aiden Hutchinson out here balling for the Lions. Got Dan Campbell biting kneecaps off, bit the Chiefs' kneecaps off, and all the Chiefs have done is go undefeated since that loss. Jordan Love making Packers fans forget about Aaron Rodgers, so we'll get into a little bit of that matchup and some of the other matchups over the weekend here at 888-957-9570. 49ers, they're playing the Cardinals this weekend, and the hype's not really there. It's because it's the Arizona Cardinals. No Kyler, no Cliff, new coach, Jonathan Gannon. You got Josh Dobbs. Okay, yeah, cute little upset win over the Cowboys. Cowboys were missing a lot of their offensive linemen. They lost Trevon Diggs for the season, so they had some excuses built in there. But it's also just the expectations for the Cardinals this season. The expectations were they were going to be the worst team by a lot. Now, they haven't been. See the Broncos and Bears. So maybe, just maybe, divisional matchups can be weird. Niners are 14-point favorites. But is anyone worried about this matchup? 888-957-9570. That's the number to get involved. To call or text the Comcast Business text line, as well as hit me up on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. We are live and streaming. Search 95.7 The Game, like, subscribe. We appreciate all of you who wake up this early, wherever you are, here, there, wherever you are, near, far, whenever. Was that Titanic? Celine Dion? The Nicole Diaz's of the world. Good morning. Shout out to MIA. Pitbull. I would just associate Miami with Pitbull now, just because it's in every single one of his songs. Dale. I call Larry Krueger that too, because if you ever have listened to Larry here on the station or anywhere, and I've hosted with him multiple times now, my guy has name drops in every single segment we do. There's not a Larry Krueger segment that goes by unless you drop a name. So that's why I call him the real Mr. Worldwide, because he knows everyone. We had a lot of guests yesterday, crushing it here at 95.7 The Game. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, joined the morning roast. We had Dave Fleming ethering the San Francisco Giants yesterday. We had Tim Kawakami joining Willard and Dibbs. Chris Rose joining Steiny and Goo. Awful lot of heavy hitters. Well, we got the heaviest of heavy hitters today joining the morning roast, 9 o'clock. Steve freaking Kerr, head coach of your Golden State Warriors. Come on. Warriors season is approaching, folks. Wonder if they'll ask him about Damian Lillard leaving the West and heading to Milwaukee. Anyone see that coming? I didn't. Did not see that coming at all.
Actually, it's pronounced Milwaukee.
Of course, which is Algonquin for the good land, as we all know. So Dame Dalla is now a buck. See what I did there? $1, buck. It's all right. It's going to be a long week. It's already Thursday. But my initial reaction was, Well, first, what did they give up? We saw the deal. So it was a 3-team deal. Suns, Bucks, Blazers. Blazers move off of Dame, Nurkic, right? Well, there's someone else in there. But those are the main ones. Nurkic going to the Phoenix Suns. DeAndre Ayton going from the Suns to the Blazers. Drew Holiday going from the Bucks to the Blazers. Now the Blazers are looking to shop Drew Holiday. I'm sure a contender would love to go out and get him. Is that going to be a consolation prize for the Miami Heat? Are the Blazers just not going to do business with the Miami Heat? Because that kind of felt like what was going to happen. Although, to the Blazers' credit, I think they did well here. I think they did well. Getting DeAndre Ayton, who's locked into a contract now at his age, I don't know what else you were going to get in for Dame because your leverage was damn near non-existent around the league. But credit to them. They wheeled, they dealed, they didn't cave to Dame's demands, and they got the best possible offer, and they're going to get even more from shopping Drew Holiday. Because say what you want about Drew Holiday, he's 33, still an elite defender, still can knock down the ball. Is he what he used to be? No. Is he part of a big three, quote unquote? Maybe he's a fourth guy. But if you're a championship team and you're looking for that next level, he could help you with that. Absolutely. So a lot going on in the world of the NBA. Steve Kerr joining the boys at 9 o'clock. What were your initial thoughts of the Dame Lillard trade? 888-957-9570. I'm just happy it's over. As anyone else, God, just felt nauseating. It felt like the Aaron Rodgers saga in the NFL, where it was just like, okay, we get it. Will you, won't you? Dame, we get you're loyal until you're not, until you want to leave. I get it. So finally, the Damian Lillard saga is over. He is no longer a Portland Trailblazer. He is a Milwaukee Buck, and he gets to join Giannis. Now, does that reek of Giannis going to management and being like, you know what? I'm flirting with leaving, guys. I've been talking to the media. I've been on all these podcasts. Hey, if you guys aren't invested in winning, I'm making myself known. I'm making clear that I want out if that's not the priority here. Well, I think they heard the message because they went out and got Damian Lillard. Now, does that put them over the top? Is it a lateral move, moving off of Holiday, bringing in Dame? Obviously, Dame doesn't play any defense, but he's a damn good closer. And when you couldn't trust Middleton last year, and his body's been breaking down the last few years, Chris Middleton, that is, you needed someone else across from Giannis and a shooter. And what do we know about Dame? He's a killer. He's a shooter. He has that Curry-type range. He's that guy. So from that sense, yes, makes all the sense in the world. Absolutely. And when you look at the landscape of the East right now in the Eastern Conference, obviously you got the Celtics, you got Miami, you got Philly, you got Milwaukee. Outside of those four, I don't really trust anyone else. And we'll see with Philly because James Harden has made it known he doesn't even want to play there. Miami, we'll wait and see there. Could they be a player for Drew Holiday? We shall see. But you felt like Miami really wanted Dame Lillard because it felt like they were Dame Lillard away from truly contending to win a title. I'm not saying truly. They were in the title game last year, but it felt like they were so gassed from just getting there, from beating the Bucks, obviously, right? From going through all those teams they went through in the East, the Celtics, whatnot. It just felt like they were gassed. And they need someone else aside from Jimmy Butler, who you see all the memes, you see all Jimmy Buckets. He can only do so much. Looking like a superstar, looking like a Hall of Famer in those earlier rounds and then just faded late. So that was a big blow for them. They have to kind of scramble now. Drew Holiday, it'd be a nice consolation prize. But I still put the Bucks, I think, as my favorites going next year, even over the Celtics. Listen, The Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum thing, I'm not a believer in it. I'm not a believer that those two guys are going to lead the team to a title. Now, could one of those guys be that dude for that team? Sure. They got to build around one of them, though. I don't think both of them are going to coexist to win an NBA title. Maybe that's a hot take, maybe not. From what I saw in those finals 2 years ago now, 2 years removed, well, technically last year, 2 seasons removed, against the Golden State Warriors, can they improve off of that? I mean, they just paid Jaylen Brown $1 bajillion, and the guy can't even drive left. So, yes, I like Milwaukee to win the East. Still early in the predictions. We shall see. I thought Milwaukee at times was the best team in the league last year. Giannis injury happened. Middleton, his knee, shot. And obviously they get upset in the first round. It was a tremendous disappointment. Giannis goes to the podium, has a great speech, as Giannis usually does, about winning and losing, and how he's not a failure. Although the season was a failure, Giannis didn't feel like he was a failure. 888-957-9570. Speaking of failures, the Giants, they took another L last night, but they're done. We don't have to talk about them. Losing to the Padres in extra. By the way, the rest of the MLB is on fire. I don't know if you guys saw what happened in Major League Baseball, but Ronald Acuna became the first player ever to have 40 home runs and 70 steals. And they're playing the Chicago Cubs. And right now, the Cubs are fighting for their playoff lives. And they're tied for that final wild card spot with the Miami Marlins. The Miami Marlins have the tiebreaker over them. So they're on the outside looking in if the season ended today. But Ronald Acuna, being swaggy like he is, that entire Braves lineup is so swaggy. But Acuna's like, you know what? I just gave him the first player ever to hit 40 bombs, get 70 steals. I'm taking this base right in this game. Yeah, I don't think Cubs fans were very happy about that. They're tired of losing, specifically losing in extras to the Atlanta Braves. And we got this guy, Acuna, going to win MVP probably in the National League. Just taking the base out and stopping the game and doing this whole charade. Really? That's what we're doing? That's what we're going to do? I understand why Cubs fans are upset about that. I understand. But I also understand where Acuna and the Braves are coming from. The Braves fans were like, this is awesome. It's never been done before. That's great. Is 40 home runs, 70 steals, are we going to be going like, oh, man, 40 homers, 70 steals, that was one of the greatest feats of all time? Maybe. I mean, I feel like taking the base is reserved only for I don't know, Ricky Henderson when he broke Lou Brock's record and one of the greatest speeches we've ever heard. And I'm going to pull it up right now because whenever I could bring up Ricky Henderson, why don't you? But I kind of am with the Chicago Cubs fans here where it's like, all right, dude, we got a couple games left in the year. You guys have obviously clinched everything. You have 102 wins. We're fighting for a playoff. Can we just get this game rolling, please? Can we do that? Can we do that here? But no. All right. So yes. And by the way, the Cubs, yes, took another heartbreaking loss in extras yesterday. Tough. Very tough. So unless you're going to break the stolen base record a la a Ricky Henderson and do a speech like him, maybe don't pull out the base. Let's hear it.
A's having come from behind a 1-0 deficit. Ricky goes, a pitch taken, he's going to have it. He does! Ricky Henderson, no contest, steals third base, jerks the bag from its moorings, and holds it aloft, representing number 939.
Luke Brock was a symbol of great base stealing, but today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Just any excuse to play that record-breaking steal.
At 31.
At 31. Thank you, Joe Shasky. You brought it.
41. At 31.
By the way, it's funny because Acuna, and that's Joe Shasky's enjoying for the cross over here in about, 30 minutes. But Ricky Henderson had 70 steals. Oh, I got to pull it up. Evan Giddings, our guy, E-Dog Evan Giddings. You know him, you love him from the not the pregame show, but the kickoff show on Sundays for Niner away games with Lolo. But we have a A's group chat, and E-Dog, perhaps an unpopular opinion, but unless you're the greatest of all time and your name is Ricky Henderson, do not take the base out of the dirt. And I completely agreed even before he sent this text. In 1983, Ricky stole his 70th base in his 73rd game on June 25th. He was just so otherworldly. So I'm not here to dog on Acuna or anything like that. It's just pulling out a base when it's just number 70, and I get it. You had the 40 jacks. I don't know. Maybe for the greatest records of all time, maybe that's when you take out the base. I don't think 40 home runs and 70 steals is one of the greatest records, but I digress. Here on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 888-957-9570. That's the number to weigh in. What say you? Comcast Business Text Line, Twitch and YouTube. Good morning to all of you. El Guero, mi familia, my family. Appreciate y'all chiming in at this hour of the day, as you usually do. Shasky's there early. He is. Because you know what? He's a good team player, and he's dropping me off this coffee. And I needed it desperately. Got the car to the mechanic shop. Sam Lubman, appreciate you. Where's my round of applause for Sam this week? He deserves it. He gave me a ride first 3 days. That's the mark, of a truly great coworker. And it helps that Sam actually lives pretty damn close to me. But regardless, you didn't have to give me the rides. You can be like, I get in there, Joe, usually around like 5:05, like right when your show's starting. I have to get up earlier. But you know what? He didn't care. He did get up a little earlier. And I appreciated it. And he gave me all those rides. So you know what? This is for you, Sam Lubman. Royal trumpets, applause. Thank you. The red velvet cupcakes that you requested from Jade will be here next Monday. There you go. Actually, we offered, but it was funny when we were like, Jade's like, you know what? We should thank him. I'll bake him something. And Jade loves to bake, the missus. And he's like, yeah, just ask Sam what he wants. I was like, okay. Hey, Sam, Jade said she wants to bake you. I'd like to thank you for giving me a ride this week while the car was in the shop. And I was like, what do you want? You want like banana bread? Like, what do you like? You want like some cookies, chocolate chip? You want, some like muffins or something? Like, what are you into? He's like, I want some red velvet cupcakes. That might be the most specific request. Not just a vanilla cupcake or a chocolate cupcake. I want red velvet. And of course, I immediately go to the hair. I was like, well, maybe that should be your nickname here at the station. Red Velvet Sam Lubman. It might be now. I might be calling him Red Velvet now. Who's that, Kevin Herter? Over in Sacktown now? That's what that is, Red Velvet? Sam Lubman, ladies and gentlemen. No one like him. But I appreciate him giving me those rides this morning. And this week. Not this morning, this week. Tim Kawakami, TK Podcast. And Tim knows a thing or two about interviewing Steve Kerr, who will be interviewed by Bonte and Shasky here at 9 o'clock. Can't wait for that. Going to want to download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for that. If you haven't already, you're going to want to be on Twitch and YouTube and subscribed to catch all of that. Steve Kerr, 9 o'clock. But TK joined the boys yesterday. And the big story for the Warriors has been Chris Paul, obviously. Right? CP3, will he, won't he come off the bench? Jordan Poole's gone now. Feels like they can start to, define a sense of rhythm for this team. They could have a guy like Chris Paul come off the bench, quell things down, calm it, change the pace of the game, dictate the pace, if you will, and everything could feel a lot smoother. That's the key, the thing I keep coming back to for the Warriors. Smooth. Everything was erratic last year. Everything. From the lineups, from the injuries, from the storylines, from the punt, everything. Dark cloud, that's what you want to call it? I call it erratic, chaotic. I need calmness. I need smoothness. And while Chris Paul's personality may not be that, his play on the court is smooth as hell. It's calm, sensible. So TK joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday, and they asked him about CP3 being willing to come off the bench. And here's what he had to say about that whole situation.
Chris Paul needs to see it. He deserves the respect of seeing it before anything is imposed upon him. And then they hope not to impose it on him. They hope that he comes to that conclusion along with the rest of them. And that involves Steph Curry, Draymond Green, all of them. I think what the Warriors are hoping and believing, and this is really the Warriors' way, is it's all kind of agreed to. You see it on the court. Look, you could have more energy running that second unit. Maybe you close some games with Steph and Clay. Maybe you don't, but get the feel of this before we're going to put a Hall of Famer on the bench for the first time. That's how Steve Kerr does stuff. And, you could just hear it when he was talking to me. I could feel it. I knew that was the way they were going to approach it. No, we'll see what Chris Paul says about all this, and maybe he doesn't agree, but it makes sense. The lineup makes sense with the starting five from last year. That is statistically a tremendous starting five. Makes sense and positionally and all the things they do. And then have Chris Paul be coming right off that bench with the, whatever 6-minute mark at the first quarter, lead the second unit into the second quarter, and then you see what the best group is from there.
I agree with TK, Tim Kawakami there, who again joined Willard and Dibbs. You can find that entire interview on our YouTube and Twitch. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there. But I agree. It makes the most sense. No one, I don't think, is disagreeing with that CP3 coming off the bench is the best case scenario for the team. It's, will he come off the bench? Will he accept that role? I still don't know. And again, Bonta and Chasky asked head coach Steve Kerr at 9 o'clock about it. And I'm sure they've had the conversations here and there. I don't know if what's definitive, if it's fluid, what's going on. But DK went on with Willard and Dibbs to compare this CP3 situation with the Andrew Wiggins situation, not of last year, but a few years ago. Take a listen.
It just a little bit reminds me of the Andrew Wiggins, vaccination question. Wish I thought about that when I wrote this. Is he was adamant that he was not going to take the shot, did not want to take the shot, but he knew that to play he had to take it. His teammates didn't badger him. Nobody publicly said this guy has to take the shot because we need him playing. They just supported him. Whatever decision he has to make, everyone will see it. Guess what happened? Andrew Wiggins took the shot and helped them win a championship that season. I think it's a similar sort of thing with Chris Paul, someone who deserves respect, someone who clearly does not want things imposed upon him, has done a lot of great things in his career, could do some more great things for the Warriors. Let him see it before anyone dictates it to him. And I think everyone knows what the logical result's going to be. Let's see what happens, after 10 practices in training camp.
It's a reach, I think, a little bit, right? That was kind of more of a nuanced thing with the Andrew Wiggins COVID. Will he, won't he take the shot? It's my body, my choice. Obviously, you can do what you want, but if you need to play this year and we need you to play and to compete, you have to take the shot. San Francisco mandated, if you want to play at Chase Center, all of that. You got to take the shot. So that was just kind of an awkward situation from the get-go there. Kind of reading between the lines from when the players were talking, they're like, what the hell, man? Like, hurry up. Like, what are you doing? We're doing whatever it takes to win. If you get this damn shot, come on. So that one was a little different. I don't feel that sort of tension, not that much with the Chris Paul situation here. I understand everyone's going to go back to this soundbite that Kendra Andrews asked, and it was,
you coaching?
And it turned into that. Like, that's where everyone's going back to, that Chris Paul's not down, to come off the bench or anything like that. I don't see it that way. And I think this has kind of all been blown out of the water, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, he's going to be playing for the Golden State Warriors. Whether he likes it or not, I fully expect that he's already ingratiated himself. You've heard from Steve Kerr that they've talked. He's a talker. He likes to talk on the phone. He's an old school guy. Doesn't text or anything like that. Talks about the game. I'm sure he's called Steph. I'm sure they've had lengthy conversations. Clay, Dre, what have you. We've seen Draymond and him getting it up in the gym. So I think this whole situation with coming off the bench has been completely blown out of the water. It's going to be a non-story right when the season starts. Hell, it might be a non-story during preseason, which is coming up in 9 days, 8 days, whatever. God, I can't wait. Going to take young Benjamin to that first game at Chase Center, that preseason game. I'm a big preseason guy with the little ones, and I highly recommend doing that if you have, 3, 4, 5, like the toddlers. The games that have no significance in a regular season, the no pressure kind of a game, so no pressure situation, the relaxed atmosphere. Those are the ones you want to bring the kiddos to because you get the best of both worlds. Shout out Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus. You get the best of, you get to see the stars. It's not like NFL preseason either. Like, you're going to, Brock Purdy, wow, I get a series, now I get to leave. Yeah, they're not going to play the whole time, but I get to see a half or a quarter of, LeBron, Steph, Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Austin Reeves. Like, I get to see all those guys, right? How awesome is that? Young Benjamin's going after. He's got his popcorn ready. He's got everything. I love basketball, too. It's the perfect sport for the young child's attention span. Football, a lot going on. A lot of downtime. Baseball, good luck. You got to be walking around that stadium. One of the parents, the parent that doesn't really like the sport has to be the one to take the team, take one for the team, I should say. Take the kid's hand, strap the baby on the baby Bjorn, walk around, and keep them occupied while the other significant other is locked in. All right? That's got to be it. There's a tag team scenario. Kane, Undertaker, Brotherhoods of Destruction. You got to be doing that at any sporting event. Going in. Got to have a plan because the kids are going to get antsy in those seats. All right? They always get antsy. It's like, all right, it's a 3-2 count. We got 2 on. If there's an out, this innings has been taking 25 minutes. Where the hell is the cotton candy guy? That's when you take his hand, walk around, come back in a few innings. There you go. He sits, relax. And then maybe he'll hit a home run. Then he's going to be more locked in. But basketball, they're locked in from start to finish. They got everything on the jumbo screen. You got all the cameras happening. You got the music in between breaks. You got the dancers. You got everything. It's the best. Who doesn't love it? So NBA preseason starting up soon. Cannot wait for that. Lakers, Warriors, Chase Center. I'm fired up already. It's 5:25:50 at, Thursday on September 28th. And I'm excited about preseason basketball. I think that Dame Lillard trade yesterday really kind of got the juices flowing for a lot of people, at least for me, where it's like, oh, damn, okay. That's kind of the last big domino to fall. And now we got regular season basketball here before you know it in a month. Cannot wait. Niners are balling. Hoping the Warriors get back on track. Giants, Ace, miss me with that. Baseball season's about to be over. And then it's time for the big boy sports to take over, that being the NFL and the NBA. 888-957-9570 is the number. We're going to get more into the matchup tonight between the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers. Maybe take a look at the line there. Some of the betting angles for that. More Kawakami reaction, more Mike Florio reaction. Chris Rose had an interesting thought in regards to Brock Purdy with Steiny and Goo yesterday. I want to get to on that as well. And Joe Shasky will join me here in 19 minutes for the crossover as he does each and every Monday through Wednesday at 5:45. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
During Jeep Adventure Days, get $11,000 in lease support on the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xE. $11,000 lease support includes cash allowances and $7,500 federal EV incentive provided by lender as a capitalized cost reduction and is subject to change without notice. Lessees cannot claim federal tax credit on their personal tax return. Please confirm this information to ensure its accuracy and availability. Consult a tax professional for details and eligibility. Not all lessees will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 10/2. Jeep is a registered trademark.
Thanks to your product, I've lost 65 pounds. That I've been using your product.
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. We're talking a little bit about everything here. Because kind of a little bit of everything's happening here in the Bay right now. Giants recently eliminated from playoff contention. Got Warriors season starting back up. Steve Kerr joining the boys at 9 o'clock. Morning roast. You're not going to want to miss that. Head coach of the Golden State Warriors. What a bad year last year. Guys are asking him about it. What's changed? A lot. Has he changed as a coach? Coaching Team USA, they took a big L. Steve's taken a lot of tough losses last year. Obviously, FIBA World Cup, a lot different than Western Conference semis, Lakers, Warriors. But nonetheless, hey, you're Team USA. We have to pride ourselves on the best talent in sports, specifically basketball. And it took a loss to Germany for guys like LeBron, Steph, amongst others, to be like, yeah, okay. All right, now it's time for us to, bring the gold to the U.S. out in Paris next year. So maybe we'll ask him about that. We'll ask him about a bunch of stuff. Cannot wait for that interview. We've been talking basketball. Dame Lillard, he's going to the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday to the Blazers. Blazers are going to shop him. DeAndre Ayton, he's going to the Blazers. Nurkic going down to the Suns. So awful lot of moving parts. Grayson Allen, a Sun. Woo! Can't wait for that. I'm sure nothing with Grayson Allen's going to come to fruition against the Golden State Warriors, right? In that first game of the regular season at Chase. I can't wait. I'm so fired up. I'm so fired up for football tonight, too. Can't believe I'm saying I'm fired up for a Lions-Packers game, but that's where we're at. Lions, I don't want to say must-see TV, but, I mean, when you beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the first game of the season, the inaugural, to kick it off, you raise some eyebrows, and it's like, oh, this team's for real. They just beat the defending champs in Kansas City. And I thought Dan Campbell set the tone for the entire season when it was, 4th and 1 on their own 25, something ridiculous, and they went for it, ended up getting a score on that drive, I believe. And it kind of set the tone for the whole game and maybe the whole season. There was a lot of hype for this Detroit Lions team, and rightfully so. They ended the year, on a huge run. They prevented the Green Bay Packers from making the playoffs. And remember, Niner fans, if the Packers had won that game, they would have been going to Levi's Stadium to play. And then you wouldn't have to play the Seahawks. The Lions didn't have anything to play for once the Seahawks won earlier that day on the last week of the season. But you know what? Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, Jamal Williams had a hell of a game. They said, whatever. They went into Lambeau and beat Aaron Rodgers in his final game in a Green Bay Packers uniform. That's what they did. And it was special. I got goosebumps. And it bled into this year. And they're building something. Juxtapose that what's going on with Green Bay. They said goodbye to a Hall of Famer. I'm sure a lot of their fans felt like, this might be a down year. But with that defense, get Aaron Jones back. Christian Watson's coming back tonight. Jordan Love's been balling. Got on my fantasy bench. Thankfully, Justin Herbert finally did something for me last week. 400 yards. Thank you, Justin. Of course, I was going up against a guy with Keenan Allen. So, naturally, I took L. I'm 0-3 in the 95-7 league. It's not a good time right now. Please don't make fun of me. It's just not good. Nick Chubb, out for the year. I'm struggling. And I'm sure all of you care at 5:36 a.m. here on the pregame show about my fantasy struggles in our 95-7 The Game League. But it's tough. I'm not in last. I'm not the Chicago Bears of the station. Not quite. I'm the Denver Broncos. Mark Grandy would be the Chicago Bears because he's got Justin Fields and I think he's got DJ Moore. He bought into a lot of the hype for Chicago. Yeah, it's not looking good for him. At least I've had some injuries I can fall back on. Jacoby Myers in week 2, and maybe we'll get things on a roll here. Maybe a trade's brewing with me and E-Dog Evan Giddings. He's got a plethora of running backs. I need one. He needs a another quarterback, if you will. He's got Geno Smith. He wants Jordan Love. I think he's going to give it another week. But if Jordan Love balls out today, I might have more leverage. So we shall see there. But I can't wait for that. What's the line on this game? Packers, Lions. Wrong keyboard, Joe. Good job. Lions, Packers, line. So right now, as it stands, and we're going to go to FanDuel because, why not? 1.5. It's on the road, right? It's in Lambeau. Okay. All right. -1.5. Home dog. I kind of like... Man, divisional matchups are tough. Thursday night football on top of that makes it extra tough. I tend to stay away from these type of games. I do like the under. What's the weather going to be like in Lambeau tonight? Lambeau Field weather. Not weather in December. Come on, guys. It's going to be chilly. Let's just say that. So, it's not going to be snowing, but I like the under in this game. Thursday night, Aiden Hutchinson's been balling. They'll get after it. The Green Bay Packers will get after it. I like the under in this game. That would be my only play. 45.5, low scoring, but that feels about right. This feels like a 2018, 2015, like that kind of a game. There'll be some turnovers. That'll probably be a special teams play. Might be the difference. That's kind of what it feels to me. By the way, Aiden Hutchinson leads the league in pressures. I think he's tied with Max Crosby. That guy, I didn't realize how tall. He's 6'7". Guy's a beast. Now, he's not going to win he's not the leader in the clubhouse. Hell, he could win the Defensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt, probably the leader in the clubhouse there, but the jump that Aiden Hutchinson has made, it's been impressive. It's been damn impressive. Man, I didn't expect that coming out of Michigan. I'm going to be honest, I didn't. But you know what? He's shut me up. Absolutely has. Just his rookie season alone. He had a couple, I think he was what? He had a couple picks. He had like 2 or 3 interceptions as well for a defensive end. And that's the mark of a really good defensive end. That anticipation, that's something that gets slept on. Getting those picks. That's timing, getting your hands up, and also having good hands to be able to corral that thing. Because we know most of these DNs, they're long. They got the wingspan. You think of guys like Aiden Hutchinson, like a Chandler Jones type, and obviously what's going on with Chandler Jones remains to be seen. A lot going on in Vegas there. I don't think he's ever going to suit up again for the Raiders. Hell, he may never play again in the league. That's another story for another day. But guys like that, the long arms, and being able to take those balls away. I think of back with the Oakland Raiders with Khalil Mack, who had that awesome play against Cam Newton, where damn near looked like he just ripped it out of his hands, but it was a pick right at the end zone there. And that was funny. That was the one where Steph Curry was in the crowd. He had to put the Derek Carr jersey on at the Coliseum. Good times. Kind of the last final good memories of the Raiders that year. But that was the year they went to the playoffs. Obviously, Derek Carr broke his leg prior to the playoffs. All that, yada, yada, yada. But that was the Khalil Mack DPOY year. That was a signature play. Cam Newton backed up in his own end zone. He throws it. Khalil Mack gets the interception, gets the touchdown. Night, see you later. Voted All-Pro at 2 different positions. Gets the DPOY. One of the greatest seasons I've seen here in the Bay Area in quite some time. But Aiden Hutchinson, early on this season, he's kind of been that dude. He's been that dude. Also, he looks like nice guy Stephen Langford. I always give him a hard time about that. He's like, hey, nice guy. If you're a meathead, that's what you look like. Steven doesn't agree. But, we still love you, Steve. Shout out KCBS. Stephen Langford, ladies and gentlemen. 888-957-9570. I'll get Joe Shasky's thoughts on this game. On the other side, on CP3, what he's going to ask Steve Kerr. Again, Steve Kerr joining the guys at 9 o'clock here at 95.7 The Game, the morning roast. Cannot wait for that. They got Kevin Kugler, I believe, as well, who's calling the game with Mark Sanchez with the Cardinals-Niners this week for Fox. So they'll have Kevin Kugler on at 8 o'clock. And we know we love that Eno Benjamin call from Kevin Kugler. I'm sure I'll come in with that when we bring him on. But one more break. Cross Drover next, right here on the Pregame Show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Here's a message for Bay Area architects and designers. If you're about to start a remodel or design project with one of your clients, be sure to visit Golden State Window and Door Design. They work with a number of manufacturers, including Marvin for windows, that offer outstanding quality and a large selection of colors and styles. Take a look at the Golden State's window and door design showrooms virtually at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe.
shot, because we need him playing. They just supported him. Whatever decision he has to make, everyone will see it. Guess what happened? Andrew Wiggins took the shot and helped them win a championship that season. I think it's a similar sort of thing with Chris Paul, someone who deserves respect, someone who clearly does not want things imposed upon him, has done a lot of great things in his career, could do some more great things for the Warriors. Let him see it before anyone dictates it to him. And I think everyone knows what the logical result's going to be. Let's see what happens, after 10 practices in training camp.
That one was kind of a stretch for me. There was a lot more nuanced and layered conversations with the Andrew Wiggins one because it was during the height of COVID.
I just don't see. I don't see it at all.
I don't see the comparison there.
The other portion is I'm so over COVID.
Well, yes, we would like to be over COVID.
I don't think the C word.
COVID's not over us, but we are over COVID.
Whatever.
Yes.
I'm done talking about it.
Okay.
Just society, I think, is done talking. Aren't you?
Well, are we still done talking about the flu 115 years later? It's just going to be with us forever now.
Well, no, that I agree with, but it's oh God, and it's totally different.
Well, Travis Kelce's telling me I can take the 2 shots now, so you get the flu and then you get the COVID one. There you go.
Jesus.
It sucks, by the way. I hate getting the shots because then your arm's all swollen sometimes. You get the lymph node. It's an awful lot. But TK yesterday, your thoughts on that whole comparison? Not even close.
I don't think it holds
because do you even think this whole Chris Paul thing, and I'm sure you guys are going to ask Steve Kerr at 9:00 today. Can't wait for that interview. You guys are interviewing head coach Steve Kerr. Do you think that's even a big deal?
What?
This whole bench thing? Is it really is it more of the fans creating something that's not actually there?
Honestly,
was it honestly this that everyone got kind of concerned about? Was it this part?
You coaching?
That's what everyone's going back to. Really? Come on.
It's a great quote. Though.
It is, but I think he was just kind of trying to be a little smart ass there. I don't think he's really that upset if he has to come up. Just me personally. I don't think he's going to be that upset at coming off the bench.
Honest to God, I really, in this situation, have no idea what he's thinking because I do think he's an egomaniac, rightfully so. He's built up in... look, whether you think he's better than Curry, he's not.
He should have an ego. He's a Hall of Famer. Yes.
He's one of the greatest point guards ever.
Ever.
Right? And one of the seminal players of this generation. And he commands a certain level of respect and gravitas. And so I understand his point of view. I would also say things evolve over time. This is the analogy I use when regarding, positions for players in different sports. Pops was a shortstop. Then he got a little older. Yeah. And he slid over to second base. And he slid over to first base. And next thing you know,
DH.
He's pitching.
Oh, no. Do you guys have DH even in softball?
No.
Come on.
Yeah,
go AL.
We have EH, extra hitters.
I love that, EH.
Yeah. But, but you get where I'm going?
Yes.
It's the natural progression to slide on over, right? And so you would hope that his natural progression would be to slide on down the bench a little. And we use the B word like they're not playing. For example, in football, if you're on the bench as QB2, you're on the bench.
You're a bench player.
Right?
But that's the best position in sport. One of the best positions in sports, QB2. Because no matter what, it's you come in.
Look at Brian Hoyer.
What are the expectations? But in high school or anything like that,
sure.
It's I'm chilling. I'm on the team. I'm on varsity. I get to wear the jacket. You better not hope I'm coming in. But you know what? I'm there with the team. Rah, rah.
QB2 is essentially long reliever.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Only coming in mop-up duty.
Yeah, Shamanaya. There you go.
So, I don't know. You would hope that this guy's opinion would evolve over time and realize that he's still going to get his 25 to 35 minutes, depending on the night, and he's still going to get his touches. I'm more concerned. Forget starting and closing. I'm more concerned stylistically. I think it's going to look good, but I just want to see what it looks like. This is a team that likes to play motion offense, that likes to get up and down the floor, and we all know that Chris Paul comes to a grinding halt. And that is the maximum version of Chris Paul is let me set up the offense, let me pick and choose the pick and roll that I want to attack, and let me dictate pace at my standards.
Absolutely. And that comes to fruition a lot, obviously, in the playoffs. And that's where, obviously, Chris Paul has struggled a lot staying healthy. That's ultimately what it's going to come down to for me.
Health.
The playoffs and the health.
I would say also vibes.
Well, yes.
Because here's the other thing. We've talked a lot about how does he going to integrate to the pacing. I think he's going to integrate just fine because he's going to have the ball in his hands and he's going to control the pace. I actually think Clay and Steph are going to benefit the best because one of the areas that I have the most concern with the Warriors, 7 minutes to go, half-court offense at times for most teams can be difficult.
A lot of bad shots last year. A lot of bad
decision-making.
decision making.
I think CP3 can really help.
Yes. As far as IQ goes, and I'm not saying Steph isn't a high IQ player. He's one of the greatest players in the history of the game. Very high IQ. I think Chris Paul's decision making, you could argue, is better than Stephen Curry's in clutch moments. I'm just going to say that.
Well, I think he takes care of the ball
as
better,
a handler of the position.
I don't think anyone argues that.
I don't think that's a hot take, and I think that's going to help. And it's the opposite spectrum of Jordan Poole and what you had last year. Like, just bad decision-making left and right. God love Jordan Poole. God bless him.
You know what my dad called him at the end of last year?
What?
Grab bag pool.
Oh, no.
Because you don't know what the heck's coming out of
the
that
pool
bag.
was draining right there. It was bad. It was 2 feet of water, no diving. Not good. It was funny. We went to Disneyland the last week. I don't know if I've told you this, Joe.
No.
We were in Disneyland last week.
I
told
love
everyone. We were staying at the resort, and they have a pool there, so it's perfect, right? You got the hotel right there.
Yeah.
You can walk over downtown Disney right there. It's awesome. But it's funny. Benny was just looking at me. He's like, what's that? He's at the stage. Everything, what's this? Like, what's this? Like, shout out Jack Skellington. What's this? But he was...
He's very curious.
Yes, he was very curious. He just, every sign... What does that mean? What does this mean? Every sign that says don't do something, he's asking, he's like, what's this telling me not to do? The diving symbol by the pool. Don't dive because it's too shallow. What's that man doing, Dad? Like, what's that? I was like, they're saying diving. Don't do that. What's diving mean? Oh, it's where you put your head in the water and you jump in. He's like, why do people? I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, after the third or fourth question off the original one,
God bless
it's
Benny.
just like, God, I just can't,
You didn't
buddy.
think there'd be someone more annoying than your wife, and here
God.
your son comes.
Jade, I didn't say that.
I'm teasing,
I love you.
I'm teasing,
There you
I'm
go.
teasing, I'm teasing.
Michelle, hey, we love you here at 95.7.
Nothing drives me crazier when my wife keeps asking follow-up questions on something I don't even want to explain to her. Not because I'm hiding anything, because she'll never understand.
No. Jade's actually the opposite of that with certain stuff. She just doesn't even ask the question. She gets mad at me when I'm the guy that asks a lot of the questions too. So Benny probably got it from me. As I digress, you guys got Steve Kerr on today. What's kind of the biggest question, or I don't know, the one question for you that's the biggest question mark heading into the season? I said question like 4 times there, but
Well, I think last year was a big Draymond year.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
And a Klay Thompson year.
Dark cloud year.
Right? So I think Bonte has a very specific question about Klay Thompson and what they discussed heading into the offseason, because this offseason feels very different for Klay Thompson in terms of what he's doing contrasted to last year. And then Draymond Green saying, this is the most important year of my career. That was powerful to me.
Yeah.
That was very, very powerful. And then, of course, I would love to ask a standard, how you integrate Rodney Magruder into this lineup? No, I'm not asking.
No. Rudy Gay? Wow, Steve. Huge move there. Biggest move of the day yesterday, right?
No, the biggest move of yesterday was the Odronowski win. You didn't hear what happened?
Well, Shams, he's premature text there, tweet, whatever. The Raptors? They weren't involved, Shams.
Well,
Come on.
Woj, I don't know if people know this. Woj and Cronin, the guy from Portland, are connected because they're from the same agency.
Oh, okay. What is that called again, that agency?
I don't care. I know CAA or something.
Yeah.
Point being is that Woj is doing misdirection on the Miami Heat trade since day one. And it's been a Shams versus Woj kind of reporting feud. Okay? And he has been downplaying Woj, Tyler Hero, in all these trade packages, just basically saying Tyler Hero's not good.
Yeah.
Miami is furious this morning.
Jimmy Butler specifically.
As a fan base,
yes.
and Jimmy Butler in particular, that Dame Lillard went to Milwaukee. Could this have ramifications on the Warriors?
How so?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are logically thinking like, Chris Paul doesn't work out. Come January, you trade him for Drew Holiday.
Maybe. I think you got bigger problems, though, if Chris Paul's not working out in January, right? Like, is Drew Holiday going to fix everything? I think Drew Holiday is probably going to be shipped before that, I would assume. I think a team like Miami is going to go after him now, right?
Did Portland get better?
They got DeAndre, and they got a young piece.
Who's a malcontent.
Who's a malcontent, but maybe he's going to be in a better mood now.
Who's the point guard to set him up? He was awful before Chris Paul
Well,
showed
who's
up.
their guy? They did Scoot Henderson. That's their guy now, right? Like, they're building around him. Like, that's the thing. Plus, they're going to get another piece, you would assume, from the Drew Holiday trade whenever that comes to fruition. So I think they did get better, yes.
Okay.
They're going to find a desperate team that's going to try to overpay for Drew Holiday, I think. I think they did improve. Once Dame says, I only want to go to Miami, they were kind of limited too. But I actually appreciate what they did. They played hardball. They're like, oh, Dame, you want to play hardball? Well, you're not getting what you want here. You said you wanted to stay loyal. Okay, great. Well, you're not loyal now, so we don't have to be loyal to you in this whole situation. Dame in this whole thing, I think he did kind of hurt his credibility a little bit. Well, if you base your entire career off staying loyal, and this whole thing, it kind of got a little nasty the last couple months, Joe.
Well, but I will only go to Miami, but I'm only going to do that quietly.
But it wasn't quiet.
You had to do it like over the top.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be Harden. Like the only guy I could think of that got traded against his will to a place, like a player of this magnitude, is Kawhi to Toronto.
Yeah, and it worked out, right?
Well for Toronto in the 1 year.
It did, but they'll take that. They got the
Kawhi
chip.
gave him one of
the greatest years you've ever seen in basketball. He's one of the greatest seasons ever. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I think Boston regrets that trade years later, not giving up what they needed to get him.
Man,
for the 1 year.
Probably. Is that when they still had Gordon Hayward too?
I forget what the package was, but I remember they were rumored on the package and they wouldn't move off Jaylen Brown.
And then now they gave Jaylen Brown $1 bajillion and the guy can't even drive left. I was hoping your first question as we end here. Shout out NASCAR. I was hoping your first question would be, what's it like going up against a guy that you coached against in the Western Conference semis in Austin Reeves and then coaching him for Team USA? That's coming up next on the Morning Roast, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
What's up?